Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman invites you to mark 1 year since Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th. Join us as we come together this Monday, October 7th at 6 p.m. at the Harry Chapin Lakeside Theater in Eisenhower Park. Let's stand together in solidarity with Israel and those held hostage Monday, October 7th, 6 p.m. at Eisenhower Park. For more information, visit nassaucountyny.gov.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
And joining us now here on Katz and Cosby with the very latest is former Deputy National Security Advisor under President Trump, Victoria Coates. Victoria, this is really concerning. This Afghan national who got into the United States and got there right after that horrible withdrawal of Afghanistan, that dismal withdrawal, and now was plotting a mass attack on America on Election Day. Tell us how big of a threat this is.
Yeah, this is really terrible, and it's really good to be with you and John. But I think Americans have to wake up to the long-term national security ramifications of the surrender of Afghanistan and the very chaotic, poorly planned way in which it was done. Because nobody had time to vet anybody. The State Department was in complete disarray. And legitimately, there were some interpreters that people very much wanted to get out who had helped us for 20 years. But bad apples got in amongst them. And now we have a guy who was planning a mass murder attempt with a minor, with a child. The idea was they would both become martyrs to the glorious ISIS cause here and take out as many Americans as they could at a moment when they could cause us the most disruption on Election Day. So this, I think, just points to this horrible, bad, overall, general immigration policy that this administration has embraced, but in particular highlights the failures in Afghanistan.
Victoria, too, I was looking that this guy, in fact, came in. He was granted among 70,000 Afghans humanitarian parole suddenly, like you said, all of a sudden they came during the withdrawal, and that was a mess, as we know. And he's been in the United States since September 2021, and sort of like a sleeper cell, if you will, which is, to me, one of the biggest concerns. And you hear from Christopher Wray all the time saying that there's all these sleeper cells in America. This is scary stuff.
But Rita, how many people are involved?
Well, in this case, we know it's two, at least.
Well,
in this case.
But two, I understand they can do damage to one place, but they can't do national damage.
Right. Well, you have to wonder, what are the other ones out there? Who knows? These are the ones they busted, John. That's what worries me.
No, I couldn't agree with you more, Rita. And what we also don't know is how many related folks have crept across the southern border. And so are they communicating? Are they just kind of generally looking for targets of opportunity? We don't know. And, whenever Director Wray goes up in front of Congress and goes on and on about how all the red lights are flashing, that is just a cover your own posterior exercise if I ever saw one, because he's the director of the FBI. Why isn't he doing something about this? Why isn't he making us safer? Instead, he's overseeing the policy that could lead to a really horrific attack.
Yeah, the other thing, too, and John, we were talking about this earlier, is the merchant of death. This is the guy who was traded for Brittany Griner, the WNBA star, remember, in Russia? I don't know if you saw this report. He is now selling weapons to the Houthis, John. This is so scary.
Absolutely.
It's horrible. It's just, there's no controls anywhere in any part of our governments. We don't have a chief executive officer to worry about each department, and the people in those departments, I guess they lack a lot.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Victoria?
Well, I think we should not be shocked that the merchant of death has gone back to dealing death. And this is definitely an escalation. The Houthi haven't had Russian missiles before. They've been using Iranian missiles. And this just shows you, Rita, how sort of convoluted the Iranian, Russia, and Chinese problem set is becoming. They're starting to be each other's source of resupply. They're starting to arm each other's proxies. And, this is increasingly becoming one problem. And that is going to be a huge challenge to whoever wins in November.
Yeah, no doubt. The other thing, Victoria, too, we're hearing that Biden and Netanyahu finally spoke, but that Biden keeps telling him, don't, when you retaliate after the 200 Iranian missiles that rained on your country, don't hit nuclear facilities, don't hit oil fields. I mean, they continue to make Israel fight with one hand tied behind their back.
No, it's ridiculous. And President Trump came out recently and said publicly he does think they should hit the nuclear facilities. That was always his approach, that Israel should be the kinetic arm of this, but that it was a threat to both of our countries. And he's particularly concerned about a nuclear-armed Iran, as he should be. And a piece just dropped in the Wall Street Journal a couple of minutes ago, actually, about how the administration leaked to the Journal that they're very frustrated that the Israelis won't give them their campaign plans for whatever the strike might be. And I think, of course, they're not giving them to you because they'll just read about it in the same press that you're leaking to right now. And that's how they would preempt or make less effective an Israeli strike. And it's very disappointing to those of us who worked very closely with Israeli colleagues. And our motto was always no surprises, to see that the relationship has come this far off the rails under the Biden-Harris administration.
We have serious problems in our country. And November 5th can't come fast enough. And I can't believe anybody would actually vote for Harris. After the other day, she said that she's going to back everything that President Biden is doing, she will do too.
Absolutely. It'll be 4 more years. And so what do we have to top Afghanistan surrender, invasion of Ukraine, terrorist attack on Israel? I mean, what's next? Will we have a nuclear Iran? Will we have an Chinese attack on Taiwan? Can we stand 4 more years of this? And I couldn't agree with you more, John. I don't think this is a choice at all. It is pretty clear cut.
Yeah, I do too. Well, Victoria, thank you so much for joining us. Such important stuff to talk about. And keep us posted on all fronts. And thanks for all you do to keep us safe, Victoria. Thank you.
Thank you.